John, UCD at home Friday night, always a difficult game for Cork.
Yeah, I suppose, look, it's been one of those ones that historically UCD have been a bogey side to Cork City. I go back over the years when I was playing myself, and God, we dreaded whatever it was. We just, they were just a team that we had a very poor record against. Obviously, coming Friday night, it's one of those ones we were top of the table. They're near the bottom, and on paper it seems sort of a game that you should pick up 3 points, but it just shows you the competitiveness of the league. That 2 weeks ago Sligo felt they should have beaten us, and in the 0-0 game, and then last week they got to UCD and lose 1-0. And I suppose early on this season when we were up at UCD, we beat them 1-0 in a very tight match, even though we had Darren sent off in the first half that day. But it just shows that it's in this league, it's every team is putting it up. The fact that we're at the top means now that teams are raising their game and they're really having a good call off us. And you could see that with Drogheda at the weekend. The way they came out and put it up to us, and it looked at, I suppose with 10 minutes to go we wouldn't get the winner, but thankfully we did. So and the one thing about UCD over the years is that they always produce very, very good players, and while they may lack a little bit of experience, they have lots of energy. Game is on TV, so and I suppose for them it'll be their biggest game this season, because they'll probably play in front of the biggest crowd that they'll play in front of. So all that helps to give them a bit of a lift, but at the same time the crucial thing for us is that we have to make sure that that we're ready for the match, that we give them the respect they deserve, and that we start the game properly, and that we I suppose do all the good habits that we have done. And if we do that, then we'll be okay. But if you don't, you underestimate them, or you think it's going to be a soft one, that's when you run into problems. And we're well aware of that,
And they'll be on a high after winning their first game in Ease or something,
Yeah, do you know what the funny thing about it is that I'm saying that if you look at some of the teams we're playing now, UCD, Drogheda, we're playing them at a time of the season when, if we'd got them maybe 6 or 7 weeks earlier, they seem to be in a bit of free fall. You look at Drogheda, they were in a horrendous run, and then all of a sudden the change manager in the last 2 or 3 weeks, everything lifts. UCD have probably been on a bad run, and then all of a sudden they're after coming out after the break and beat Sligo last week. So again, that gives them a lift. And any team that's in a bad run, once you get a win, it lifts confidence. So as I keep saying, it's I'm really hoping that the crowd will come out in force, because we've been away for the last couple of weeks. You can see the league is hotting up now. We need to stay in there. I'm hoping the crowd will come out in huge numbers and really be very vocal, because sometimes I keep saying that when you're playing the likes of Shamrock Rovers, Pats, it's easier to, from the crowd coming in, it's easier to get your voices, and sometimes when you're playing the likes of maybe UC or Bray, you sit back to be entertained, whereas what we need on Friday night is 3 points in offer. We need the crowd, the fact that we haven't been at home for the last couple of weeks, to come out in numbers and really get behind us, and hopefully we can give a good display, and certainly what we need to do is win the match and get the 3 points.
And you haven't been on TV much this year. You're on TV on Friday night. Traditionally Cork City have always struggled when they've been on TV, especially in Turner's Cross, like knows the nerves or whatever. So how do you avoid that heading into Friday?
I suppose regarding TV, Rory, we don't know. Obviously we played Derry at the start of the season, and that game was on RT and we won. I suppose what we've been trying to do this week at training is to take it on board that it is on TV. That is probably going to give UCD a lift, an extra incentive, and we just have to be careful, from our own point of view. Really, you just have to prepare for the game as normal, and I keep saying to keep your feet in the ground, because it's gone to a crucial part of the season where we need to stay in there now. There are games at the moment coming up that we need to pick up points, full points, and hang in there, because we all know the bigger ones are coming down the line. But to me, you lose a few points, you drop a few points, then and drop off the top of the table or drop to third or fourth, you go with the running. So it's crucial for us. So look, I know it's on TV. I suppose hopefully it might give us a lift. And being home, hopefully maybe the fact that we are on TV might give the lads a lift, because it's funny that from that not being on TV for most of the season, we end up now that we're home this week on TV and we're away the following week on TV. So it's just the way it's going to come. And probably, to be fair, it's probably good, and it shows how far we've come, in the sense that the TV cameras are looking to show us now, because in the position we're in.
3 weeks in a row, Gary.
3 weeks in a row, yeah. Whether so, look at that's good. It just shows where we come from. Look at, if you're mid-table and you're going nowhere, you're not going to be on TV. So it's part of the pressure, And I keep saying to the lads every week, the pressure's on us every week, but do you want the pressure every week, or do you want to play mid-table where half the matches don't matter? And so far this season, we've played under pressure and we've delivered, and that's what we have to keep doing.
A big plus, John.
Sorry.
An injury update there, and obviously Johnny Dunleavy, the captain, is over.
Yeah, unfortunately,
unfortunately.
Johnny is suspended. Haven't decided that yet. We'll decide it tomorrow. Darren Murphy is gone for the season. You know, and which is very unfortunate for Darren. But look, I suppose we probably knew the significance of it when his shoulder went out. Gavin Kavanagh took a knock, but he's actually due to train with us tomorrow. Davern is supposed to back training with us tomorrow. He trained today, didn't take full part, but is due to take full part tomorrow. And Garrod Morrissey still has an ankle issue and will miss Friday night. So I suppose with Johnny suspended and Garrod will definitely miss Friday night, and everyone else really should be in contention, including Rob Lehan.
You're unbeaten at home, and I think it goes back nearly a year now, and you kind of kept a promise to the fans in the sense that at the start of the season you were adamant that you wanted to make Turner's Cross a bit of a fortress again, and it has become it now, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. Look, I can only deal with this season, and look at home this season we've been good. Look, if Cork City are doing well and Turner's Cross is a fortress, we all know then that the club are doing well. Okay, and I just felt that teams were coming down, getting an easy ride, taking away easy points, and we had to try and address that. And I think this year we have, and you know we're halfway through the season, and I suppose we have put out a marker, and teams have saw that when they've come down, you know, Shamrock Rovers, Pats, Bows, they've seen Sligo, the crowd have been on fire. It's been fantastic to play there, and we've been a very, very good team at home. And and look at, I suppose that's why our attendances have been so good, and hopefully we can keep it that way. So it would be fantastic if we can keep, you know, our home record intact until the end of the season. But there's a lot of work to do to make sure we do that.
The clean sheets, John. I think it's 7 in a row now, is it? Noel from Mark McNulty.
Yeah.
And by my count, about 13 or 14 this season, which is phenomenal.
Well, there's 11 in the league. You know, 11 out of 19, which is good. So I think it just shows you. I look at the end of the day, I keep saying the consistency in the team, consistency in the partnership, all health breeds confidence, and people get to know each other's games. If you're chopping and changing, then you have problems. And I suppose you look at, I keep saying, I think Mark is the number one keeper in the league. There's no doubt that Phil Harrington, since he's come into the club this year, has had a huge impact on him. And if you go out and you watch the training session, you can see that the work that he does with them, there's no doubt he's after bringing them even up another notch. But at the same time, you have Dan and Darren, who form the centre back partnership, and they have a very good understanding together. You've had Lenny, who you all know of. You've had Johnny on the other side. You have Erla, who's come in. You have John Cav, who's come in. And in fairness to you, Gavin Kavanagh, first game last week, hard to come in, and he did very well until he got injured. But I suppose if you look at, we've had a consistent back five, and that helps because you get patterns, you get, you know, understandings, you know when one fella goes, one fella drops, and it all helps. But look, we've had 11 in the league and 14 overall, so you know, you're keeping clean sheets, you know, then you're going to win most of your matches.
John, if I can ask you, the club's celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. There's a great supporters night being organised on Saturday night, which you were speaking at, I believe. When you look back on your time as a player, as a fan, as a manager of Cork City, what are the memories that stick out for you? Well, straight away,
I can see like the nights we won trophies. You know, as a player, the winning the league in '93, the first league title for the club. Obviously, I can see the FAI Cup in 2008, where I played in a couple of cup finals previous to that, and I remember being with the club at that stage, 12 seasons. I thought our chance was gone, and we beat Shells against the odds. And then the 2005, being a spectator in the stand, that fantastic night we beat Derry 2-0, and being at the cup final in 2007 in the RDS, you know when I suppose we were hot favourites and we won. But look, they were all fantastic occasions. But the other side that I think is looking at the amount of times we played in Europe, and the Bayern Munichs, the Galatasarays, you know, the Malmos, you know, played serious opposition and fantastic games. And you know, really, that's, I suppose, when I was appointed to start the season, that's where we want to try and get back to European football. winning trophies, staying in top of the league, qualifying for Europe. That's what the players want. That's what we want. And from a a club point of view, like, the support has been absolutely fantastic this year. You can see there's really positive PR. People are rowing in behind the team. There's a great feeling about it. And so look, we're on track for Europe, and look, they're the nights we want back. So the history of the club while we've had fantastic occasions, we've also had the downside where things haven't gone right for the club, and I've been through both of it. And I suppose that's why I felt that coming in as the manager this year, I felt there was a huge opportunity to lift the club. Because I just felt that we had been, we've been going through the last number of seasons, obviously, since the receivership thing and Forrest taken over, we'd climbed back out of the first division through Tommy, which we did, but then the last couple of seasons we just were mid-table without achieving anything. And I just felt that the club just needed to be lifted, and I just feel that, at the moment the club is rising. We just need to see, can we just keep rising up to the top level, and I believe we can do that, and hopefully we can get back into Europe this year, and the good days will come back again.
Killian, I suppose, being a Donegal man, Johnny Dunleavy was a factor in you joining Cork. Or was it the fact that you didn't want to be tackled again by Darren Denny in a League of Ireland match?
Yeah, there was. I suppose there was many factors or reasons why I came down to Cork. Definitely, when I first had contact from John that he had interest and stuff in coming down, gave Johnny a phone call and stuff, and I know Johnny from speaking to him before, being actually friendly with him for quite a number of years, how highly he speaks of the place, how much he loves his life down here. I'd say he might be down here for a while, you never know. And yeah, definitely. And I suppose it's funny because when I was to come down as well, John told me, you'd be moving into a house with 3 lads, and it was one of them was Darren Denny, and I was like, oh dear. But no, I live with Billy, Darren and Iarla Davern, and they've been very good to me now since I came down. Everyone in the change room has, I suppose when you move anywhere, you move to a different club, you're quite worried about what's the change room like, what's the players like, and every single one of them have been really good to me, made me feel at home. I suppose that's another reason why things are going so well down here at the minute,
And is there a huge difference in playing with a team, to be fair to UCD, that were struggling in the league, as opposed to being like with Cork, that every game is a cup final now because they're near the top?
Yeah, definitely. There's huge differences in that respect. I suppose in UCD, to be fair, they tend to give younger players a chance, and as John mentioned, a lot of good young players come through, but circumstances dictate that they have to I suppose take a chance with youth, and first thing off, you don't train as much down there, just you seem to train a bit more down here and stuff, and the intensity and definitely the standard of player, there's just more experienced players being around, seeing it, and definitely since I've come in, I've been here 3 weeks now, and I've learned a lot from, I think I'm blessed coming down here as a forward player. When you have John as your manager, you have John Finlay just came in, Marco Sullivan, you have players like that there you can learn a lot off, and just for me, I had a great time at UCD, learned a lot, progressed a lot as a player, but I suppose this was the next step up for me to take things to where I want to go and stuff. So yeah, definitely there's huge differences in that respect. Yeah.
You must be pleased with your progress. I mean, you've played in the first team already.
Sorry?
You must be pleased with your progress. You've been made in
Yeah,
the first time you've been in the first team already.
Definitely. Starting against Sligo was great, and it's a difficult match. Actually, they really worked hard and got in around us, and I suppose maybe looking back, we could have won it, we could have lost it. You might look back at the end of the season, it was a good point down there to get in. And then I was actually out for a couple of weeks with a minor injury before the break and stuff, so I played 80 minutes against Birmingham. Actually a great experience again and stuff. And it was important to come down, hit the ground running, and to a certain degree I felt I've done that. So yeah, it's been good. Just my focus is on the next game, keep it going, and see how much I can progress myself.
Would you prefer to be playing as a kind of an out-and-out striker or wide on the right? Or
for me it doesn't. I don't really mind. Yeah. I've played in both the whole way up. Yeah. I suppose coming down here, and as you said, the players down here, where they are in the league, to get into the team, I'm happy at the minute, you know. So no, I'm indifferent about that actually. Yeah.
And people behind you, like with great experience, like Dan Murray and obviously Colin Healy in midfield. Huge experience.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was another huge difference from UCD, you know. You didn't have them players that you could turn around and look to. And I think that's a big, in a game where I find a lot of times where UCD, there's excellent players there, and even players, you'll see them now on Friday night, you know, they can move the ball and do things.
Not too excellent, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah. But the difference is when the game gets tight, the likes of Colin Healy, the Dan Murrays, you know, the Nuts, they can step up, they have that experience, they know the things to say and do, and it's definitely that added experience, I think, that gets teams maybe, you know, over the line. Last week was a difficult game, but I think just the extra bit of experience and the drive of the team at the minute got the lads over the line, you know, in a difficult game. So, yeah.
How strange is it going to be for you facing UCD on Friday?
You know, I think different players will look at it differently. For me, I'm just going to treat it as another game. You know, if you start thinking too much about it, and you know, of course, I know all the lads. A lot of them I'd be quite friendly with. But for 90 minutes, I'm not going to have any friends, and I don't expect it to be any different. And, you know, I'm not going to dive into 50-50 or jump out of one that I wouldn't, and I'm not going to treat it any different. You know, just as I said, I treat it like if it was a Limerick or a Shamrock Rovers game, and that's it, really. You know, for me.
Have you set any targets between now and the end of the season?
Not really, no. I think my first target was to come down here and hit the ground running and really attack things, and you know, I felt I've done that okay, and now it's about, you know, getting in the team and performing well. I think different people, like, you know, at the start of the season, people would say, oh, how many goals do you want to score and stuff, and for me, I just take each game as it comes, you know, just focus on that, do as well as I can in that, and as soon as that's over, move on to the next. I think that's the only way, because sometimes when you're setting targets, and you might put pressure on yourself, or you know, you might underestimate yourself. So I think it's better just to take each game at a time, and that's what I'm doing at the minute, you know.
What would have been the sort of big influences on your career? People like Martin Russell,
I suppose.
Back when you were back in Donegal.
Back in Donegal, I would have, you know, I was playing with Letterkenny Rovers. I'm from Letterkenny and Donegal, and then I went into Derry and played under 20s. That was then, and played the A Championship when I was 16, 17, and I suppose Stephen Kenny was the manager then in Derry, and I was exposed to him maybe for about 5 or 6 months before I went to UCD in scholarship, and I definitely I suppose that was the first big manager, I suppose, that had a name that I was exposed to, and I learnt a lot from him. And then of course Martin Russell, his ethos and his attitude and what he tried to do with UCD was great and stuff. And I suppose it's
back in the game now, isn't it?
Huh?
It's good to have a manager and a coach like him back in the league.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it is. He might know a bit about me and stuff, and you know what to tell the defender to do when he comes up against me. But no, I'm delighted for Martin actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.